Hi friends, here in this video I'll be explaining the Vam method. So let's get started. Now here we have the Vam method. It is also called as Vogel's approximation method. Now Vogel's approximation method is that method of transportation in which we are getting the minimum cost, and at the same time we have a method by which we can verify the minimum cost as well. So out of all the transportation cost method, in order to find the transportation cost, Vam method will give us the minimum cost, and that too verified. Now how to start this method? First check if the total supply and total demand are same. Here we have three factories F1, F2 and F3, three warehouses W1, W2 and W3, and factory F1 can supply 200, F2 can supply 160, these may be units, products, etc. F3 can supply 90. Similarly, warehouse W1 has capacity or demand of 180, W2 has demand of 120, and W3, the warehouse 3, has a demand of 150. And whatever are given in these cells or metrics, these are the unit cost to transfer the material from one place to another. Like from factory F1 to W1, the cost would be 16 for one single product. From F1 to W2 it is 20. From F1 to W3 it is 12, and so on. Now when I add up all the total supply values, this comes out to be 450, and total demand is also of 450. Since both are equal, such kind of problems are called as of balanced transportation type, and with that we can start the problem directly. Now by using the Vam method, the first thing is start from the first row, take the least value. Now the least value is 12, and then take the next higher value. So the next higher value is 16. Take the difference, it comes out to be 4, and write it towards the row. For the second row, similarly, select the minimum value, which is 8, next higher value 14. Take the difference and write over this right hand side. Similarly, for the last row, minimum value is 16, next higher value is 24. The difference is 8. Similarly, write the differences for the column as well. For the first column, minimum value is 14, next higher value is 16. So the difference is 2. For second column, 8 and then 20. The difference is 12. Last, here we have 12 and 16. So the difference is 4. Now once the differences have been taken, from all the differences, take the maximum difference, and here the maximum difference is 12. So point an arrow towards this column. Now since the arrow is pointing towards this column which has the maximum difference, in that take the minimum cell. So the minimum cell is having value 8. So we have to start the problem from this cell. And here when we see, the demand is of 120 and supply is of 160. So the demand can be met completely. So I am writing 120 over here. And from 160, 120 would be subtracted. So we have 40 which remains over here. And since the demand has been completely met, I can cancel this column throughout. Now once a column has been cancelled, we have to take the difference and write it towards the row. For example, starting with the first row, here we have minimum value 12, next higher value 16, difference is 4, write it towards the row. Next we have 14 and 8, again the difference is 4. 16 and 26, the difference is 10. So whenever a column is cancelled, we have to write the difference on the towards the row, and if a row is cancelled, write the difference below the column. Now out of the minimum values we see here we have difference 2, 4, then here we have 4, 4 and 10. Select the maximum difference, which is 10, and since it is pointing towards this row, here we have to select the least value. So the least value is 16 inside the cell, and the demand is of 150, supply is of 90. So 90 would come over here, but since the demand is not met completely, from 150, 90 would be subtracted. So we have 60 which remains over here, 60, and since the supply has been completed, I can cancel this entire row. Now once a row has been cancelled, we have to take the difference and write it below the column. So for the first one we have 14 and 16, the difference is 2. Then we have 12 and 18. The difference is 6. So now what are the differences remaining? Here we have 4, 4, 2 and 6. So select the maximum difference, which is 6, pointing towards this column, and from this select the least value. So the least value of the cell is 12, and here the demand is of 60, supply is of 200. So demand would be completely met, that is 60 would come over here, and from 200 60 would be subtracted, so we have 140. The demand is completely met, cancel this entire column. Then since a column is cancelled, we have to write the difference towards the row. So here in the first row only 16 is remaining, in the second row 14 is remaining, and here we have 2. So out of 2, 16 and 14, the maximum difference is 16. So selecting this, and here it is pointing over towards this 16 and no other element is remaining, so we have to take this cell. Demand is of 180, supply is of 140, so 140 would come over here. From 180 subtract 140, so 40 remains. The demand is not completely met but supply is completed. Cancel this entire row. Then since a row is cancelled, write the difference below the column. Here only 14 remains, so this single cell is remaining over here. Now in this cell, when we see, the demand is of 40 and even the supply is of 40, so 40 would come over here. Now the total demand has also been met and the supply is also completed. So now I can calculate the total transportation cost, and that would be TTC, that is the total transportation cost. I am assuming it to be in terms of rupees. It can be in any other currency as well, and for that multiply this unit cost with the occupied value, that is 16 into 140, 12 into 60, 14 into 40, 8 into 120, and 16 into 90. So when I add up all the values, the answer comes out to be, it is 5,920 rupees. So that's the total transportation cost. And now once we found the total transportation cost by using the Vam method, we have to check it or verify if this solution is optimal or not, and for that we have to use the Modi method, which is also called as the modified distribution method. So I'm going to verify this answer by using the Modi method, and for that I'll explain how to use the method. So we have to check by the Modi method, also called as the modified distribution method, and for that I will draw the matrix again. Now these are the occupied cells and the remaining are the unoccupied cells. For checking with Modi method, the first thing is, for the row I am writing the values as U1, U2 and U3, and for the column take it as V1, V2 and V3. Now we need to find the values of these variables, that is starting with the first one. I'll explain it over here. We have to take the occupied cells, like for example here we have U1 and V1 as the first cell, so it is U1 plus V1 equal to the cost value, which is 16. Then first row third column, so U1 plus V3 equal to 12. Next we have U2 and V1 having value as 14. Next we have U2 and V2, that is second row second column, value is 8. Then third row and third column, that is U3 plus V3 equal to the cost value, which is 16. Now in order to find all these values, we have to see the most repeatable value. If we see here, U1 is repeated twice, similarly U2 is also repeated twice, V1 and V3 as well. So we can take any one of them as 0. So here I'll say that let u1 is equal to 0. So if I'm taking the u1 value as 0, v1 is 16. So I'm writing the values over here, that v1 is 16. Next v3 is 12. Then when we put the value of v3 over here, which is 12, u3 would be 4 because 12 would go onto the other side. 16 minus 12, that is 4. So u3 is equal to 4. Then v1 value is 16. When I put over in this equation, u2 value would be 16 goes on the other side. So 14 minus 16, that is minus 2. Next, when I put minus 2 value over here of u2, that goes onto the other side and becomes plus. So 8 plus 2, that is 10. So v2 value is equal to 10. Now u1, u2, u3 and v1, v2, v3, these values are known. Next is we have to check it for the unoccupied cells, that is if the cost is optimum or not. And for that, starting with the cell, for cell I'll explain. The first unoccupied cell is first row and second column, that is over here. So it is u1 plus v2. So for cell, I'll write down first row, second column, it would be equal to, now we have to take the cost value first. Here the cost value is 20, that is the unit cost. It is 20 minus, since it is first row second column, so it is u1 plus v2. u1 plus v2. u1 value is 0, v2 is 10. So therefore, here the difference comes out to be 20 minus 10, which is 10. Then similarly for the next unoccupied cell, and the next unoccupied cell is second row and third column. So it is u2 plus v3. Cost is 18. So take the cost 18, second row, third column. Cost is 18 minus second row, so u2, third column, so v3. u2 is minus 2, v3 is 12. So this value comes out to be 10. 18 minus 10, that is 8. Similarly for the next unoccupied cell, which is at third row and first column. So u3 plus v1 and subtracted from the unit cost, that is 26 minus u3 plus v1. u3 value is 4, v1 is 16. So here we have 26 minus 20, which is 6. Then the next unoccupied cell is third row and second column. So for the cell 3, 2, which is third row second column, take the cost is 24 in that cell, minus u3 plus v2. u3 value is 4, v2 is 10. So this is 14, 24 minus 14, that is 10. And now once we have reached all the unoccupied cells, the solution would be called as optimum or optimal if all the unoccupied cell differences which we are getting here, they should be 0 or positive, means if any of the values are negative, it means the solution is not optimum. So I can write over here that since all the values are 0 or positive, therefore the solution is optimal, or we can write down the solution obtained by Vam, that is the Vogel's approximation method, is optimal. So therefore the minimum total transportation cost is now verified and the value was 5,920 in terms of rupees. And suppose if any of the differences for the unoccupied cells was negative, it means the solution is not optimal and we have to go for the optimal solution, and for that we are going to see the problems in the further videos. So in short, that was a video regarding the Vam method. At the end, if you'll find my videos helpful, you can like, share, comment and subscribe our channel and share it amongst your family and friends. Thanks for watching.